Today's topic is all about eating disorders. I will be talking about the 6 different kinds of eating disorders, and I will be giving a very general overview of each one and the symptoms. I will break these down further in future videos, but for the purpose of this video, I'm just going to go over all of them. But first, if you're new to my channel, I want to welcome you. My name is Micheline. I'm a licensed therapist, and I post videos twice a week on Mondays and Wednesdays about mental health topics, so please be sure you hit the subscribe button and turn on your notifications. That way you never miss an update. And if you're coming back to my channel, give me a thumbs up and drop a comment in the box below. So let's get started. So the first eating disorder is anorexia. People with anorexia restrict their food intake, which leads to weight loss or a failure to gain weight, which results in significantly low body weight. And the body weight is way lower than what would be expected for somebody depending on their age, sex, and height. People who suffer with anorexia have a significant fear of becoming fat or gaining weight, and they also have a distorted view of themselves and of their condition. So an example of this might include a person thinking that they are fat or overweight when they are actually underweight, or believing that they will gain weight from eating one single meal. Anorexia has 2 subtypes. There's the restricting type and the binge eating and purging type. So individuals with the restricting type, they focus on weight loss by restricting food intake. They do this by either counting calories or fasting or excessive exercise to burn those calories. While individuals with the binge eating and purging type may binge on large amounts of food or eat very little, and then they purge by vomiting, using laxatives, or exercising excessively. The second eating disorder is bulimia. So bulimia includes recurrent episodes of binge eating and then purging. So the binge eating is usually done in a short amount of time and with large amounts of food. The amount of food is way larger than most people would be able to eat in a similar circumstance. A person with bulimia, they will feel a lack of control over their eating. So during the episode, they might find it really impossible to stop eating or control how much food they are consuming or putting into their bodies. And then after they binge, they will feel really guilty and disgusting, and so they will participate in compensatory behaviors to get rid of the food that they just binged on in order to prevent weight gain. And this can include doing things such as inducing vomiting, using laxatives, and again, excessive exercise. The third eating disorder is binge eating disorder, and a person with binge eating disorder will eat much more rapidly than a person who does not have binge eating disorder. They will eat until they feel uncomfortably full. The eating occurs when the person isn't even physically hungry, and it's more emotional based eating. So people with binge eating disorder will usually hide their eating because they feel embarrassed of the amounts of food that they're consuming, and maybe most of the time it could be pretty unhealthy stuff. And so this also results in their own personal feelings of shame and guilt. So unlike bulimia, binge eating disorder doesn't include the compensatory behaviors such as, using laxative or exercising or vomiting. So it's just the binge part without the purge. The fourth eating disorder is Pica. And Pica is an eating disorder that involves eating things that are not typically thought of as food, and they don't contain any nutritional value. So people with Pica would eat things such as hair, dirt, paint, and the items ingested do not provide any nutritional value, and it's not due to like a normal practice in a culture like a rite of passage or anything like that. So typically substances ingested tend to vary with age and availability, and they can include things like paper, soap, cloth, hair, string, wool, soil, powder, paint, metal, even ice. So it's definitely things that we would not eat as a meal. An important thing to note is that you cannot diagnose children under 2 years of age with Pica because children under that age put things in their mouth and they sometimes ingest them, and that's developmentally appropriate. So in order to be diagnosed with pica, the things that you're ingesting cannot be appropriate for your age. So the fifth eating disorder is rumination disorder. And rumination disorder is regurgitation of food. So the food may be re-chewed, re-swallowed, or spit out. So typically when someone regurgitates their food, they don't appear to be distressed, they don't appear to be making an effort, and they just act like it's just a normal part of their eating. They're not upset or disgusted. So this can look like somebody chewing up their food and then using a napkin to just spit it right back out in a very normal manner. And the sixth eating disorder is avoidant restrictive food intake disorder. Avoidant restrictive food intake disorder is similar to anorexia in the limitation and the amount or types of food that is consumed. But unlike anorexia, it does not involve the worry or the distress about body shape or size. A person with restrictive food intake disorder will show a lack of interest in eating or food. The avoidance is based on the sensory characteristics of food or concerns about how that food would make them feel, such as the consequences of eating it, which could result in, again, similar to anorexia, significant weight loss and significant nutritional deficiency and even dependence on nutritional supplements such as vitamins. Okay, so those were the 6 different eating disorders. Like I mentioned earlier, I'll be making more videos in the future to discuss each one of these in more detail. But I hope you understood the general overview and I hope you found this information useful. Please let me know below, what specific questions do you have about any of these different disorders? That way I can add it to the list and make sure that I answer those questions in the specific videos.